Okay, this is an explanation of deployment to AWS ec2 instance. And before deployment, I want to tell what I decided to do with the project. So, as we discussed at the beginning, I planned to use Django channels library for the asynchronous support for the Django. And it's a time to switch the general Django to asynchronous one, because it has much more easy deployment structure. So I updated our requirements to have channels and channel Redis support. Django channels required some message queue broker, and the default one is the Redis for the Django channels. It has pretty good support. Okay, then I need to apply some changes to our settings. At first I added channels to our installed apps, and also I specified the ASCII applications. So we had a WSGI application that is created by default, this one, and for the Django channels we need to create the ASCII configuration. ASCII is asynchronous, is for asynchronous handling, and it's looks pretty similar to WSGI, as you see. And also we required to add application routing. By default, the routing is empty, and Django associate required routing by default. And I will explain in short what is routing in context of Django channels. So Django channels provide a way to handle multiple logical channels to handling any kind of events. And for the HTTP requests, we have in general handled by Django. There is a specific HTTP channel that is handled by the Django channels library internally. So this configuration just turn it on. So all requests to the HTTP will be handled by the Django through this specific HTTP channel. In real environment, it will be done in asynchronously, and it is also possible to run multiple servers on multiple hosts that will handle this HTTP request. So by this setup, without any difficult customization, we get clusterization just out from the box. So for example, if in future we will have high load traffic on our server, we will just add one more Django channel handler for the HTTP, and the load will be balanced almost automatically between them just by Redis queue. Okay, this is not for now. Okay, so for the Amazon environment, I created an extension of our settings with database descriptor for the Postgres I will install on the server, and also for the Redis for the channels. Okay, and this is all the changes for the application for the project itself. Everything else will works as before. And I also created the configuration for this service should be run automatically by this on the server that will handle all requests to our project. And I created a system daemon configuration. A few words about how asynchronous Django application is started. For running this project in test environment or in local development environment, we use the same way as we did it before. So we can run it with the run server with manage Python script from the Django. But in the real environment, it is not very good way because it's pretty good for the debugging, but not good for the production. And for the production, Django channels has Daphne. Daphne is a server, special ASCII server that can run any ASCII applications that created with ASCII architecture. So we don't at this moment we don't need to know about this too much because we actually do not will not use any extended Django channels features. So we use it just as a HTTP server for the Django. It will be run on the same 8000 port, and it will be run by the system daemon. Okay, I will also set up a logging. It's a good thing to have all the service logs stored at the same place, and we will have Daphne logs under cruises Daphne.log, and it is also good to have logs from the Python and from the Django. And there are many approaches to this, how to configure, and Django has a very nice logging system, but I prefer to go a bit more system way. So I will set up a login to just print everything in std out and errors in std error. It will be easy to see what is happened on the server just by running it in debug mode with the run server and see everything on the console. And do not change anything in the logging, but this configuration will be automatically pass the standard output and standard error output to syslog. Syslog is a specific Linux service that handle system logging across the Linux system. It's pretty flexible for the configuration and really fast. And for the syslog, I created this short configuration that will redirect all the cruises log with program name cruises to var log cruises.log file. So the systemd will work in a pair with syslog. Actually, by default, all the service execution process output is redirected to the syslog. But to make it more easy to fetch our application logs, they are redirected to this cruises.log file. Okay, another part of our environment is the Nginx reverse proxy. Its configuration also pretty easy. Nginx will handle all the static files like CSS, images, etc. and pass all the other traffic to our backend that will work on this localhost port 8000. So our Daphne will work in pair with the Nginx. This is a pretty common setup I used in many projects I created with Django. Okay, so the last thing I should set up is for logging, and I plan to do this right now.